Hi, welcome to a live stream. It was a while ago that I last did this because I've been a little bit too busy doing live streams. So my plan right now is to do some live streams from time to time, but focus on publishing videos, 1 or 2 per week. But today I will talk about .NET MAUI Blazor. And this is based on a presentation I did on the Update conference in Prague, where I took a website and converted it live on stage to an app. So I think it would be a good idea to do this for my YouTube audience too. So all code I will show you today can also be found on my GitHub in that repository called Update Demo 2022. So what I will do today is that I will take this website from .NET Frontend Day, a conference that will be back next year, and I will convert that to an app because we are a .NET Frontend conference. So of course we also need to have an app for it. So that is what I will do today, and hopefully I will have a working app in about an hour. At least I managed to do that live on stage in Prague I think it took around 40 minutes then. But the plan first is to migrate it straight over, so we will have the same functionality in the app. And after that, I will spice it up with some native stuff, some native UI. So what about Blazor and .NET MAUI Blazor? When you're building a .NET MAUI Blazor app, that's some sort of a hybrid app. You will have a web UI, but you will have everything running native on the device in the same process as everything else. And that means that the UI that you have is web, and everything else is native. So in your Blazor components, you will have native access to everything that the platforms offers. So I think that is a really good approach when you want to build hybrid apps. So I will not talk so much about that in theory today. So we will go into Visual Studio and we will take this website and we will convert it to an app. So let's start with that. Let's go back to the browser and open Visual Studio. So here we have one project that maybe not the best idea if you want to share code between app and a web, because you cannot just take this web project and reference it from a MAUI app project. So you need to break out those shared stuff into a separate library. But first, let's go and create a new MAUI project. So new project. Oops, that was slow. Wonder why. Maybe because I have the streaming software on the same machine. But there are basically two types of the .NET MAUI templates in here. We have the one called .NET MAUI app here, and then we have the .NET MAUI Blazor app. If you start with the app first, it doesn't matter really what you take. You can add Blazor content even if you started with the .NET MAUI app, but you need to do some more steps. So let's create .NET MAUI Blazor app. And we should of course we should not target .NET 7 right now because the web project is .NET 6, but it doesn't matter really what you do as long as you have everything as the same. So .NET Front and Day app. Yes. So we'll just wait when it creates the projects for us. So what differs here from a regular MAUI app is that we will have this www root folder for all web content. And with web content, I mean the static content like HTML files, CSS, images. And then if we go to MAUI program, we have this add MAUI Blazor web view, and this is required if you want to do .NET MAUI Blazor. And with this add Blazor web view developer tools, it's also possible to connect, for example, Safari to the iOS simulator to debug the web UI. And if you also take a look at the project file, we have something that are not the same as in a regular MAUI app. We have another SDK specified here. So instead of Microsoft.NET SDK Razor in ordinary, I don't know if ordinary is a good way, but in a non Blazor MAUI app, we only have Microsoft.NET SDK instead of NET SDK Razor. And here we can see the target platforms. We have .NET 6 Android, .NET 6 iOS, .NET 6 Mac Catalyst, and we also have Windows here if we were running this on a Windows machine. So I don't think it's something more interesting here. So we can now go and create a new library for our shared code. And for that, we need to create a Razor class library. Should not be an ordinary class library, should not be a .NET MAUI class library, because I think that is also something you can do. Not here, okay, strange. I think they had that before, but that was maybe another version of Visual Studio. So we target .NET 6 again. We should not add support for pages and views, because Blazor have components, not pages and not views. So, not front and the core, for example, because we will have our core logic here. And now we can see that this also has the same project SDK here, .razor. And that makes it possible to have the Blazor components in there, or Razor components if you prefer to call it them. So okay, so then we need to move some stuff over here. So we will move all our models, pages, and the services. So that will be pretty straightforward. But we can start with the models. Okay, seems like we already had them here. Maybe because I did this with this project before, but that's good. Then we'll save us some time here. Let's see what build error we have. Yeah, we don't have the NuGet packages that we need, of course, because if we look here, we have no, okay, we don't have them here, but when we don't reference all this, we need to add the caching, the memory cache libraries. So let's go to NuGet. We need to wait a bit. And the reason that the files still are here is that I just did a git reset, and it was just created, not changed, so they stayed. We need this extensions no, not that one. Caching, can we search just like that? Yes, Microsoft extensions caching memory. Let's see. So we have the components moved over here. We should also move the pages, and not all of them. We should not move the host file and not the layout. So let's go here and create a folder for that. Pages. Like that, and then we can copy all of those files over, just like that, and seems like we have an error in here, so let's see what we need then. Maybe just a rebuild. Yeah, schedule. Yeah, we have some other problems here too. Let's see what that is. Models.schedule. But they are here, so that should be fine. We should not care about this JS runtimes because they are in the generated file, and that will probably work when we fix the other errors. Yeah, models. But let's do write the full namespace. We'll probably solve it. Okay, let's do a rebuild. Okay, strange. Schedule racer, that or something with that. Let's see what it should be. Models schedule. And we have that one. Okay, that's the reason. We have the wrong namespace here, but we can fix that. We can import this namespace. This is why you should start with thinking about code sharing already when you build something. You should not do like I did here, created a web project with everything inside it. Start with code sharing in mind and you will don't have problems like this. Okay, but we already have, no, we should not have it in global using the error is an eraser file, and that means that we need to have it in this imports.eraser. So using, and then we copy it here. Okay, that will probably fix the error. And let's see if I remove like this. Okay, I think we need models.schedule because we have another schedule model somewhere in some library. Okay, we do like this instead. We don't have time to struggle with some small errors but I prepared a bit. So I have this project. Let's see if it is this one where I have moved all the files already. No, it was not. Sorry. So I don't know why Visual Studio is so slow sometimes. It's maybe because of that I'm running streaming software also. Okay, now it started. We do like this. We change to this running app example. And then we can talk about it. So we're waiting for it to load. So if you want, you can split this in more projects as well. You can have one project for your UI components, and you can have one for your business logic. Now I have all the things that are shared in the same library, but it depends on your project, how you want that to be. I think we do like this. We kill Visual Studio. I need to force quit it. Yeah, just because of that, maybe woke up. Yeah, here it. Okay, here is have waken up. So then we can take a look here again. So I moved all the components. I moved the models. I moved the services. And as you could see in the web project, I had the caching service, the memory cache, because I don't want to go to sessionize every time I wanted to know the the speakers because we use Sessionize as the API for this app. So I use memory cache, as I said, but that is not maybe relevant on an app. So what I did then is that I wrapped the memory cache in another interface like called iCache service to have a more specific implementation on the app. So, but I can still have the memory cache on the app, and I set that up in the startup here. So on web I use memory cache service, and if you go to the app project I have another implementation here called, let's see where we have that one, here, file cache service. So instead I cache it on file, and that means that even if the app is killed I still have the cache left. And what's important here when you're doing caches in your apps is that you place them in the cache directory, not in the app directory, because you don't want caches to be part of the backups. If the user backup their device, you don't want the cache folder to be backed up for them. At least they don't want it, because that will make the backup unnecessarily big. Okay, so if we take a look at the MAUI program.cs, here we instead have the iCache service. We can remove that one, we don't need that because we have a cache service. So, and of course we should have the interface here in the shared library so we can use them on both projects. So let's see if we can build and run this. So I can show you what I have done. It will always take a bit of time the first time you build a .NET MAUI app, because it needs to recreate everything. Next time it will be faster, because then it can reuse a few things that they from the first build, because it will not rebuild everything. So it will take a lot of time now. Maybe not a lot of time, but maybe a minute or so. But I can show you how you use the Blazor web view first. I have not done that, I realize. So if you go to main page, that is in the app, it's always a sample page, or yeah, you can do this in C# too, of course, but you will always have an app page that you can use. And then you need a Blazor web view. You need a host page. And you find that host page here in the www folder. We can open that, see how that looks. Here, and here you will have this div, and here we have an ID app. Remember that. And if we go back to the main page here, you can see that here we said selector app, and that means that we will replace this div, or the content in this div, with a Blazor component. In this example, the main component that still are in the .NET MAUI project, because in this main.razor we have the router, and that makes it possible for us to navigate inside of the Blazor content. If we don't have a router, we cannot navigate. But in some cases we maybe just want to show a single page. Then we can use a page or a component without a router. Because this Blazor web view is just like all other .NET MAUI components. You can place it as a whole page. You can have it as a whole app, but you can also have it just like part of a page. So that makes it really useful and possible for you to reuse content. If you don't want to reuse a whole page, you maybe have some great components, let's say a component for visualized data, then you can reuse that in your apps. You don't have to build that again. or you can use some nice components from third-party vendors like Progress Telerik, Syncfusion, or some free great components that are out there. Okay, let's see why this did not build. Yeah, it seems like something that maybe we don't need to care about, or we maybe need to restart Visual Studio. I would say that was not a real error, at least not in our code. So let's try to start this also on an iPhone simulator and see what happens. So okay, now we have not zero errors, so that means that the simulator soon will be started. So here we have it. Yeah, and the simulator is also a bit slow the first time, but you don't need to close it, just close the debugger. And that means that everything will start faster next time. And usually it takes a little bit longer to start the first time too. Oh, I don't know why everything is so slow today. Usually it's not this slow working with my Mac, but maybe it's because of OBS. But soon we will have it, hopefully. At least it start moving in the console here. So yeah, here we have it. Here we have the website as an app. And as you can see here, I also have added some native tabs, and I will show you how I did that soon. So here we can navigate, we can go and see the 2022 speakers, exactly as with the web application. And here we can of course add some padding if we want a nicer experience in the top, or some safe areas maybe. Okay, so how did I add the tabs here? Because the tabs are native and the UI are web. So let's close the debugger and go to the code. Yeah, okay. So if you go here to app.xaml, where everything starts, on the MAUI side of the app, we set the main page here, and I set it to app shell, and app shell is this file here of type shell, and shell is like the main layout of your app, not on pages. It's like on your app you can add the navigation, menus, yeah, and stuff like that. I can't really understand why it is so slow today. It used not to be any problem to run the streaming software and Visual Studio at the same time, but I also saw that when I started this that I had an update of OBS, so maybe I need to go and update that for the next stream. So I'm really sorry about that. Things take a bit longer than it should. So here we can see I have the shell, and I have here added a tab bar with 3 tabs. We have homes, speakers, and sponsors. And here we have a .NET MAUI page for each tab. And here on main page we had the Blazor webview, and that loaded the main component where we have the router. Let's see if we can take a look at that one now. Yeah, here we have it. So it's a router, and it's loading the main layout. Oh, here's something good that you also need to think about when having components in a separate assembly. You need to add additional assemblies, and that is because when you're starting a router up, it will scan for page directives on a page. So if you go to index here, for example, you can see that we have page here and we have the path to it. It will scan for those, and so it will be possible to navigate. So if we go back to app shell, and then we can see what other tabs we had. We have speakers and sponsors. So we can take a look at the speakers page, for example. And here we can see I also load the main component to have the router, but if we take a look at the code behind, I also send some parameters to the root component. And to do that, right now we need to do it from code behind like this. I could not manage to do it in SAML at least, and I also tried to make some bindings to the parameters property, but it seems like it's not bindable. So here we have a parameter URL, and that is with speakers and 2022, and that means that I want to load the speakers page and set the parameter year to 2022. So if we go back here to main razor, you can see here in the on parameter set and the parameter called URL. So when I set the components, root components, and the parameters on the Blazor WebView side, I will have this URL set. And here I use the Blazor navigation and navigate to navigate to that page. And this will be so fast, so you will not see that it first loading the main component or the index page, because it will be more or less directly loading the speakers page. And if we go to the speakers component or the speakers page here, everything is components when talking about Blazor, but we can call them a page when we have this page directive here. We can see that we also have this year parameter here, so it knows what the data to load. So if we run the app again, it will hopefully be faster now than last time, but you never know, because my computer seems to be very slow today. Yeah, at least it's faster this time. Yeah, it's also started faster. So here we have speakers, and that makes it possible for the users to navigate directly to the speakers page. They don't need to do the navigation here. And I think that can be pretty smooth if you are in an app, that you can see that directly, because that's something you want to know about directly when you open an app like this. And here we also have the sponsors tab, not that great styled, I see. So if we go here and look at this page, you can see that only a part of the page here is the Blazor WebView. So here we have the Blazor WebView, and we have a label here. And this means that label are a native label. But one downside with Blazor WebView when you do like this is that you right now at least need to set height request on it, otherwise it will not show up. So in this case it is 500. So that's why we have this part purple. Now you can see this is old sponsor page, because right now we also have new sponsors for next year, like Progress, for example. But if you will do this for real, or if you will continue to work with this app, you will of course fix this so the colors will match. But I wanted to make it obvious what part that was the web content and what part that was the Blazor WebView. But you can see here that this is the web content and this is the native content. Seems like the sponsors label disappeared of some reasons also. Maybe we need to add some padding because it will be behind this navigation bar. So let's say add 15 padding, and maybe hot reload will work today also. Yeah, it did. Okay, strange that we did not get the label there. You can say spacing here, so have some spacing between the label and the Blazor WebView to see what happened then. Yeah, we'll just move the label down. Maybe we have some text color. We try text color red. Yeah, here it is. Okay, that was some styling already added on it, maybe that did the text color white. So okay, so here we have the native label, and here we have the web content baked into the native page. Yeah, so one more thing to show. We can go back to the speakers page here, where we have some more web content, is how you can use the browser's developer tools to debug the UI. So I will go and start Safari for iOS. For Android, you will use the Edge or Chrome to do this, but for iOS you need to use Safari. So if you go to develop, I already enabled developer mode. That's something you need to do to make this possible. And here we can see my devices. So we have a simulator here. I don't know why we have multiple of them, but it seems like it is the same. So select that one. And here we have the web inspector of Safari. And then we can use that together with the simulator. So if we go here and mark this, okay, you can see things happen on the site. So we can take a look. Okay, we have this height of the skyline. Okay, that's 500. Maybe we can try to change it, because on the app it look very much. So say 250 pixels. And okay, that looks maybe better here. And then we can go and edit the CSS file in Visual Studio. But this is good if you want to try something out, or if you have some errors, because you can also see the console here. So if you have some errors that are not visible to Visual Studio, you can often see them here. You can also see some network on the website. You can see all the images, how fast they are loading, and so on. Maybe some storage. I don't know if that's relevant for an app, but yeah, it's possible to do everything you do when you normally do web development inside of here. Yeah, okay. So right now things went a bit faster than I had planned, because of the problems with Visual Studio, and we opened an already finished solution. So if you have some questions, you can ask them to me in the chat, and I will do my best to answer them. Otherwise, I've shown everything I wanted to show you today. So we wait a few minutes to see if there are any questions. Otherwise, I will end the stream. And if you don't subscribe to my channel, and you're interested in .NET MAUI content and other .NET content, please subscribe and like my videos. That will help me producing more content. And you can also write in the chat here, or add a comment what you want me to talk about in a video, or maybe an upcoming live stream. But if I will do more live streams, I need to fix my environment so it will work better than it did today. Okay, it seems like there are no questions, so thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you learned something, even if I struggled a bit with Visual Studio and my slow computer. So I will end the stream now, and I will go and update OBS and see if things works better. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Bye bye.